Code of Silence. Chuck Norris lays down the law as the toughest cop in Chicago in his most dramatic film yet. Eddie Cusack is a good cop. Having a bad day.
My brothers, I promise you, blood for blood.
With a murder to solve.
I want this guy Cusack. I want to know where he is, what he's doing, where he lives. I want him.
Squad, this is 1462. I need backup.
Hey, you don't want to be in here.
I want your opinion. I'll beat it out of you.
A mob war to stop.
Take him apart.
Where's Cusack?
He's saving the world.
An innocent girl to protect.
Angel! Give it up! Shit!
Cusack took off with a whole truckload of armor.
Yeah, it's a fucking one-man army now.
Chuck Norris. Code of Silence. The toughest cop in the world just got tougher. Chuck Norris. Code of Silence.
Welcome to They Call This a Movie, testing the strength of friendships one terrible movie at a time. Subscribe to podcasts on iTunes and other podcast services by searching They Call This a Movie and find us on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. Welcome back to They Call This a Movie. This is Anthony Del Vecchio. With me, as always, is Dan Aquino and Mark Meyer. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hey, friends.
Hello, everyone. I think it's kind of funny that we chose the movie that we chose for this week and watched it where we did when I just saw a news item pop across that it looks like somebody's finally paying attention to Tubi, as news came across that they're like asking some like older like movies from the 70s and stuff like that to edit out nudity in the films because it's advertiser based service. And for the first time I was like, oh, other people know that Tubi exists outside of people that use it for this content. So I found it interesting that we always talk about it being a hellscape where it only removes movies when cease and desist letters come in, but now it looks like they're actually bowing down to advertisers at this point.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where are we going to go for our nudity?
I know.
If not Tubi, where?
It's not like we can get it anywhere else.
If you guys can find a spot, please let me know because I'm dying to find it. I think it's weird because Tubi is kind of like the last bastion of pure streaming.
Yeah.
They have a lot of good films on there that kind of fly under the radar. And it's free, obviously. That's the biggest part. Where you have Netflix and everyone jacking up the prices. Tubi's still just kind of hanging there, flying under the radar. And I'm okay with... It's essentially going back to cable. I'm okay with going through a few commercials for free streaming.
Yeah. It seems like people are saying it's the equivalent of, you know, on Crunchyroll for anime, where they would put the, you know, the Saturday morning cartoon version of the anime show in there, like
like
the TV
hell
edit.
for the hell for the infinite losers on the shirts of the guys from Hell and Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it's going through that transition on Tubi. It's now we're going to get all the with the Monday to Friday Captain Falcon or whatever. You know, sort of responses to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally a news story I saw like an hour before we came here, and I was like, that's interesting. Because we kept saying for months, how are they getting away with this? Doing it, but it looks like they might not be anymore, which is kind of sad.
End of an era.
End of an era.
In 15 years, it's going to be like you just had to be there sort of feeling.
Yeah.
Remember when Tubi had titties?
Yeah.
When it gets absorbed by Disney.
Yeah.
Although, like, the softcore porn on Tubi is already cut down to 50 minutes. They cut out, like, all those Skinamax movies on there. They play them. They have them on there, but they've cut all the sex scenes out, so they're like 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, because last year I was doing some research for movies that we could watch.
Sure.
Is that research in quotes?
No, this is legit research. There's no irony in this. It was so I was just kind of looking around to see what we could cover, and I came across one that was like a gang, a Mexican cartel, and it had a adult film star in it. But I was like, all right, so I'm assuming she's gonna, she'll show the goods. Nothing at all. Like, there's sex scenes in it, but everything's, things are covered or it's edited a certain way. I was like, oh, then what's the point of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Bygone
era of softcore porn.
Yeah. That was something we definitely had to be there for.
Goddamn late stage capitalism.
Oh, yeah, I think it's almost, it's the, what's that picture of the evolving from like the caveman to standing upright?
Yeah.
So you have that evolution of just magazines in the woods to now where it's just, you could find it everywhere. Somewhere in the middle is where the softcore porn was.
Yeah. Right after scrambled porn.
Yeah. Right. Like, I think I saw something there. I definitely heard something.
Yeah. But anyway, besides once again us talking about softcore pornography, which is the first time we have, we watched a movie this week, and this week was Mark's pick. So Mark, why don't you introduce this week's movie?
Yeah, so this week I had to look through Tubi because I was reminded by Ant that it was my week to pick a movie. And I, just by reading the description and knowing the actor that was in it and checking some Letterboxd, I chose Code of Silence, starring Chuck Norris from 1986, I believe. Needless to say, it wasn't as over-the-top goofy as I thought it would be. But it was an interesting time capsule felt like one of those movies that was definitely written like at least a decade prior, and then they finally were able to film it. Because none of this felt like a mid-'80s movie, except for the best 15 minutes of the movie at the end. But it's fun to see when you pop into a lot of these, Seagal and Chuck Norris films, to see some of the like surrounding supporting actors being people that you saw on 90s TV later. So that's always an interesting thing when we get into these movies here. But yeah, so I slightly apologize in advance. I thought this would be a lot more sillier than it was. But yeah, Code of Silence, 1986.
Okay. Dan, where are you coming from with Code of Silence?
I've never heard of the movie, never saw it, obviously, if I had never heard of it. But yeah, I think this movie is very much in the time period that it is in. It belongs there. You know, you have the like the Death Wish movies were big. A lot of cop action movies. So I think this movie fit in fine. I didn't think it was out of time for it as I was watching it. I didn't think like, oh, this would have been better in the 70s. If anything, I think it would have been probably worse. You wouldn't have the budget for it, or the way it was shot would have been poor. Yeah, I think this movie, it's a competent movie. I don't have many slights against it, unfortunately, other than even in the mid 80s, the police had army technology. I thought that was more of like a early 2000, like post 9/11 activity that the police had. Like, hey, we have to have the income of some nation's military.
Yeah. Well, they loved robots in the mid to late 80s.
They did.
So everything had a robot.
That's one thing that I think they should bring back now if they wanted to endear the public to their warfare tactics, is have cool robot voices when they're subduing homeless people.
I feel like you saying that you've learned zero lessons from RoboCop.
No, I'm just joking. But because the thing that I thought was funny was the Prowler in this movie. It's basically a tank.
It's Ed 209.
Yes, but Ed 209 has that very threatening, authoritative voice, right? Like, you have 20 seconds to comply. This is a very soothing woman's voice. Like, please place your weapon on the ground. And then, like, thank you for your cooperation. I think that's... I just thought it was funny how they were drawing that parallel to, this is clearly brutalization, and it's way over the top for what a police force needs. And that's kind of what this movie was all about. It was just like how outmatched the police are when Chuck Norris is going up against two drug kingpins.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the thing about this movie, you were saying, that it was, a very competent movie. I feel that if they had just about any normal actor outside of Chuck Norris with a little more skill, it's actually a pretty good movie. I think when he tries to be hard-boiled detective, is the times when it doesn't work as well. Especially those really weird close-ups when the young cop is talking to him at the bar. He doesn't know how to emote on his face at all.
I didn't mind him that much, honestly. I thought he wasn't a detriment to the movie. I thought that... So in my notes, I had written that, it's a compelling story in a cop is stuck in the middle of a crime war. And the actor from Home Alone's Angels with Filthy Souls is a crooked cop. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. How's he gonna tackle all of these things at once?
Yeah.
And the crooked cop really doesn't play a huge role in the movie.
Yeah, I wanted to play a little bit more of a role.
Me too. I thought it was gonna really come into play, and it's more of a B storyline. The only critique I have of this movie, outside of the tank that they have, is the one crime boss's family is terrible at crime warfare or mob warfare, because they are just constantly being killed by the Hispanic crime family. Like they put up zero fight throughout the entire film.
It's very one-sided.
Yeah,
very one-sided. Like, even the grandma gets killed. Just like damn, they're just wiping everyone out.
Yeah. My two thoughts, going back to maybe clarify my thing. I don't think Chuck Norris is any detriment to this film. I just think with a better actor, it's a better movie. It sounds pretty obvious, but I think as you mentioned, all the all the seeds are there, like, you know, in terms of the storyline with the rival gang and Dirty Cop. Now, if they could have connected the two, but a Dirty Cop was the one tipping off one of the gangs,
Exactly. Yes.
that would have put it a little bit over the top as a really good crime movie. But yeah, it very much felt like somebody wrote this movie with Clint Eastwood in mind as the Chuck Norris character. Like somebody had seen a lot of Dirty Harry movies. But the whole thing was, I was just nervous. Like, I was entertained watching it. But I was nervous about it being on this podcast until that robot came into play at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
To which I just started cackling in the final battle scene, because as you said, the voice is very soothing and non-threatening. Then all of a sudden, it's like exploding things and sending guys flying off of towers.
There's a shot in that final scene where it shoots a missile, and then they cut to an exterior shot of the building, and flames just blow out the windows in like the entire block. Holy shit!
It's great.
Yeah. That's the thing. This movie was. It's not the same as a Stone Cold, where I was like, yeah, this movie fucking rocks, and the diamond in the rough. This movie was just, I enjoyed this movie. I wasn't bored by it, but at the same time, it could have brought more to the table. Sure.
As for me, yeah, I think I've heard of Code of Silence, but I had no context of what it was. It's fine. I don't think this plays particularly well to Chuck Norris's strengths, how little there are in terms of strengths. He is stone-faced when anytime he's supposed to show some sort of emotion, like when he's trying to console Tony's daughter. It's like he's never interacted with a human being before. So that makes me laugh a little bit. This isn't quite as good as Invasion USA. This is actually like our second Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah. That's why I'm surprised.
Yeah. So that's surprising. But yeah, it's competent. I'll say a cab, except Dennis Farina.
Oh, he's
Dennis
great.
Farina. He's awesome.
Always good to see Dennis Farina. So this movie comes out in 1985. He's on the Chicago police force in 1985. This is like his first role, I think.
Get out of here. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a Chicago detective for like 20 years before he decided that he was going to become an actor.
I knew he was on a police force.
Yeah.
I didn't realize for that long, though.
Yeah.
And then he went over to Law and Order.
Yeah, he was on Law and Order for probably a decade, too.
Yeah. That was the reference I was making to, him, and also the dad from Frasier.
John Mahoney, yeah.
Yeah, shows up as the demonstrator for the robot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, real quick, if you haven't seen, he's also in Midnight Run, which is a phenomenal movie. So with Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin, I believe.
Correct.
So that's a great movie that he's in, and he has a good part in it. So if you're looking for more roles from him, check out Midnight Run.
Yeah. John Mahoney or Dennis Farina?
Dennis Farina.
Always good to see Dennis Farina pop up.
Did he pass away? Is he still alive?
He did. He passed away in 2013.
My goodness.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah.
He had the best bit in the movie, which was the whole coming up with really weird jobs.
Yeah. He wanted to sell hot dogs outside of Wrigley.
Retirement plans.
Yeah.
How are you going to watch the game? Well, I hadn't thought of that.
I 100% think. Now, I could be wrong, knowing this is his first movie, but I could see the script just saying, whatever his character's name comes up with weird retirement plan and just had him go. Mm-hmm. And then that's why Chuck Norris doesn't say much, because he doesn't really know how to improv. He's just like, how can we watch the game if we're so like, he's actually answering as Chuck Norris, and not the character he's playing.
Sure.
I got nervous that he died in the beginning. I was like, oh no, that's too quick.
Yeah.
But it was only a flesh wound.
Yeah, there's so many small moments in this where they could have done the dirty cop thing that we were talking about, like being involved. Like, I think the cop that's dirty, isn't he the one that sees the painters go in? That, like, are the ambush squad?
No,
like
they're in the cemetery.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then it's that other cop that doesn't really like Chuck Norris that's in that car. I knew it was one of them that, was against them. But yeah, like could have had the people because they stall and go, oh, they're just painters. They just love their boss. Could have been a good foreshadow to later that, he was meant to just delay the police going in so that they could get set up.
Right.
My wife had a funny joke about the crooked cop. She said, "Cops with even filthier souls." So that was all my wife, not me.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have her on.
Yeah, it might be funnier. not even might be. It would be funnier.
I think one of my just thinking about it, favorite like looks of a scene is when they're having that final confrontation in the gym with the dirty cop and the sergeant's there or the chief or whatever, and everyone there is in like some kind of suit or like athletic wear, and then he comes in his full cop uniform with the hat and all. Just like, did they need to do that to like tell the audience like this is the leader? Like he's the one in full like dress regalia in the room, and everyone else is just in casual clothes.
I guess it was to show how serious he takes it.
Yeah, because it was literally a laugh out loud moment in my apartment when he just pops up on screen, fully decked out. But yeah, and then basically Chuck Norris, his character, basically becoming a murderer in a little way. Like he kills Luna and the other mob boss, and then sets up to kill the other mob. But he's just going to take them all out, like on his own.
Well, yeah, because it's that that type of movie, right, where he seeks justice outside the law, because it's clear that the cops are no match for this for these gangs, and it also becomes personal, right? The main villain, Luis Camacho, kind of he makes it a one-on-one thing with Chuck Norris's character. So
and I'm really hoping, and I could never get what the vibe was going for was that they were looking more father-daughter with the young girl rather than like relationship. And I think I couldn't figure out where they were going based on the fact of like Chuck Norris's emotions in scenes with the girl.
Yeah.
Like, is this like a creepy relationship, or is he supposed to seeing her as a daughter? I can't tell because he's not showing any emotion.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the because he was very fixated on her early on in the movie too, so I couldn't understand what was the connection there.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like the person he drops him off with, who looks like he might be 5 years older than him, but it's supposed to be like this guy that like worked with his father. It has much more of the paternal vibes. In the scenes, and I'm just glad they didn't make them kiss. That's what I'm saying. It would have been creepy.
You don't know until he kisses her on the forehead when they're putting her in the ambulance. So that notes a father-daughter relationship.
Yeah. That
I think in the 80s he's probably in his 40s.
Oh yeah, easily,
yeah. So Molly Hagan was probably mid-20s.
Right. And she's supposed to be 19 in the movie.
Yeah, so I'd say 25 then, in real life.
Molly Hagan from Herman's Head. Remember Herman's Head, guys?
I do. That hit show on Fox, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We had a discussion at work because
Herman's head?
no. My one you can sometimes name an actor, and my one coworker can almost guess like the weird like obscure thing they were in that everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
So he brought up Herman's Head, and then that just led to a discussion of other like early to mid '90s shows on. I guess Fox is technically broadcast, but like basic cable. And we started making jokes about Silk Stockings and La Femme Nikita and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always fun when a show like I don't even remember outside of the whole plot being that Herman would talk to like the characters in his head kind of like inside out a little bit.
Inside Out completely ripped off the concept of Herman's Head.
Yeah. And I don't know what the rest of the show was about. That's the only concept from it. Like I can't even tell you like outside of them being adults, like what like does he have a job? Is he stuff like that? And we were talking about that. Yeah, those shows you would only see a few minutes of if you weren't obsessed with them and only have like basic ideas of it. But yeah, Herman's Head did come up randomly when discussing this movie.
Yeah. Gotta love the 90s and this just throw against the wall and see what sticks when it comes to sitcoms.
Yep.
But Code of Silence from 1985, directed by Andrew Davis, who directed such films as Above the Law, Under Siege, The Fugitive, Chain Reaction, Collateral Damage, Disney's Holes, and The Guardian.
So, this all makes sense. How this movie was shot.
Except for Holes.
Yeah.
Holes is the outlier on that one, but it's pretty solid filmography.
Yeah, and they all make sense with the way this movie was shot.
Yeah. Stars Chuck Norris, Henry Silva, Burt Ramson, Mike Genovese, Nathan Davis, Molly Hagan, Dennis Farina, Ralph Foodie, and Gene Barge. IMDb score of 6.0. Rotten Tomato score of 68%. Budget $7 million. Box office $20 million.
There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of. I can't argue with those IMDb and Rotten Tomato scores. Kind of right there in the middle.
I'm curious to see what came out after this because this was a hit. So, Code of Silence, Invasion USA. So that was another big one for him, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was big, but it was fun to watch.
And the Delta Force, and I think that was another like maybe not hit, but it's a big movie.
It has a lot of sequels, I believe.
Yeah, Lee Marvin, George Kennedy, Robert Forster, Robert Vaughn. Some big names in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had a good chunk there where he was knocking it out of the park pretty much.
Yeah, he's got his own his very specific sort of type movie he plays. Kind of picked up the gauntlet from Charles Bronson in a way.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking before. Like this movie kind of takes the place of Death Wish in a way.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get into everything else. This when Mark and you guys were saying that he's maybe not the strongest actor for this, I kept thinking of we could have like this could have been a Steven Seagal movie and it would have been far worse, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. Like I said, Chuck's not a detriment to the movie.
Yeah,
it's just if you hadn't had a trained actor in the role, you could have gotten some more emotion out of the movie and maybe not had some scenes be as awkward as they were. Like the stone face stuff. Just a little bit, a little bit more in that sense. That's all I'm saying. It's like, it's a very watchable movie. Chuck Norris is entertaining to watch, at least during this time period. I do love that they had the one forced in karate section.
I was just going to say they really don't do any karate in this movie. There's maybe one or two scenes.
Yeah, the one is forced when he's training.
Mm-hmm.
and all the cops are just in that gym for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like the cop gym or something, but it looks like it's in a warehouse. And yeah, they were just like, oh, we got Chuck Norris. We might as well have him be shirtless and do karate in it. Just so the people that come to see Chuck Norris movies for that get what they want.
Me.
You.
This guy right here. Hey, he was in good shape for in his 40s.
Yeah. The script was originally offered to Clint Eastwood as the fourth Dirty Harry film.
There you go.
There you go.
It was going to be Dirty Harry 4 Code of Silence.
I was going to ask, what exactly is the Code of Silence? Does it have to do with the crooked cop?
That's really all. That's the only thing I could think of.
Well, I think it's also the Code of Silence and gangs too. I think.
Is that a thing?
I'm just. It has to, because they have the two stories in there, so I'm imagining it's sort of supposed to be a mixed metaphor sort of thing, or whatever. For cops and criminals.
I would understand what you're saying, but there's just no scene where you have a gang member who's kind of going against his gang. You know what I mean? Like oh, we had a code, but they've taken it too far, so I'm turning on my gang.
No, I get. Yeah, I'm not saying they did it well. I'm saying I think that's what they were trying to go for.
Okay, if you insist, Mark. I don't want to fight with you, Mark.
Damn right.
That's my job.
Yeah, Ant gets to,
he gets to push you around.
It gets to push me around.
Only Ant can say I'm wrong.
All right, you guys want to get into the plot?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what you got?
Okay, guys. I would like to tell you about two podcasts that we're friends with. If you haven't listened to the show before, please go check these podcasts out. First is the Top 10 with Tia. Tia and her co-host Brittany run down top 10 lists of the week. Go over to geekvibesnation.com and just search Top 10 with Tia. You'll be able to find it there. And last but not least, our very own Mark Myers has a podcast that he hosts called the Game Vault Podcast. It is a bi-weekly podcast where you could find it on any platform of your choice. And on this podcast, they talk about video game news, upcoming games that you should kind of keep an eye out for, things that they're playing, kind of just breaking down what they like, what they don't like about the game, and also reviewing their Retro Roulette Game of the Week, which is an old school game from Nintendo to Sega to PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Xbox, you name it, they're playing it. It's a lot of fun. They stream on Twitch at Game Vault Pod, and they also have all their socials at Game Vault Pod, so please give them a follow on all platforms.
Okay, great. And we're going to take a quick break, and you guys are going to listen to messages from friends of the podcast, so we will be right back. And welcome back now, once again, to plot for Code of Silence. We open on a busy police call center, and then city night shots of Chicago with some funky Lethal Weapon style jazz over it until the morning, and we see an all-star stakeout operation as Chuck Norris and Dennis Farina pose as garbage men. The guy from the movie and Home Alone sits with another guy as they wait in the cemetery. Eventually, the target shows up with an excellent mullet and talks with one of the undercover cops.
Yeah, my favorite scene about Chuck Norris and Dennis Farina's whole thing as trash men is, I don't know, maybe this is a thing, but I don't think I've ever seen trash in those metal barrels that people use to light things on fire, rather than actual trash cans. So to me, it just looked completely fake the whole time.
We used to have those metal barrels at Little League, and those were used for trash cans.
Oh, well, okay.
There you go. Checkmate, Mark.
Checkmate. I shouldn't have called into question Chuck Norris movie.
Nope, never. It's airtight. The cops jump to the car, and everyone gets into position as the car drives under the elevated train. They get ushered into a seedy apartment building as the guy carries an instrument case in hand. Get overzealously patted down by one of the guards as they go to meet with the drug dealer. Cops are waiting for the deal to take place. Painting crew stops by the apartment complex, and the cops pay them no mind. This whole time, I thought the drug dealer was the janitor from Breakfast Club. Looked very similar to me, but I don't believe he is.
I don't think so.
Which character is that?
The one that gets shot in this shootout but survives.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember him in that.
Yeah. As the drug deal continues, it turns out that the paint crew is actually a bunch of armed guys that shoot up on the drug deal, make out with the drugs and the money. Most of the guys in the room get killed. Cops outside exchange shots with the crew as they escape. Farina gets shot in the leg. The Home Alone gangster cop shoots a kid and then plants a gun on him. The main drug dealer survives and gets taken away in an ambulance.
My favorite thing about the planting of the gun here is that it looks like it's his personal sidearm. Like, like how can't that be traced back?
Yeah, right. It's got serial numbers and everything.
His fingerprints are all over the gun as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the part of it being, dirty cops. But it wasn't even like it was a gun he found in the shootout. It was like literally the gun he straps to his ankle.
Yeah.
Was what he planted.
I could definitely see, back in 1985 when this movie came out, a group of certain individuals seeing this and like, hell yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, they're called cops.
That's who the certain individuals are.
Yeah, you don't need to go back to 1985 for that either.
You think there's a dad at home watching this now who's like disgruntled that he can't get away with this stuff anymore? Like, oh, I miss those days.
He's like, yep, that's how we used to do it.
Like, like poking his son who's next to him. Like, you see, that's how we handled this situation.
Yeah, it's called getting shit done.
Yeah. We didn't let the liberals get in our way of solving these problems.
They interrogate a couple of guys they arrested at the scene, but they get nowhere with them and they book them. Meanwhile, in the suburbs, a guy named Tony ruins his wife's birthday by ordering her to go pack his bag because he needs to leave town. Then some other guy comes in and Tony tells him that he's the one that ordered the hit. He tells his wife happy birthday and storms out. He definitely didn't mean that happy birthday either.
Yeah, he had to be reminded that it was the birthday by the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a very spiteful happy birthday.
Yeah, I gotta go to the lake.
Back at the precinct, an investigation starts on the Home Alone gangster cop, and his partner, a rookie, is put on as Chuck Norris' partner. Captain is pissed about how they spent so long on this setup to not walk away with any major arrests. And at the morgue, Chuck Norris runs into Camacho, the drug kingpin, whom offers to give Norris a Colombian necktie.
Quick.
Later. Yeah.
Can he be arrested for that? He's threatening the life of an officer.
Yeah, I mean it is assault, right?
Yeah, like did you just threaten to murder me in broad daylight here?
Although technically I threatened to slit your throat and then pull your tongue out through that slit.
Yeah.
So maybe not direct.
That's definitely murder.
No, I know. Just
oh, in that case, all right.
Oh, in that case.
Continue, sir. Tell me what else you're going to do to my body.
Later, Norris goes to the gym to spar and then talks shit about Home Alone gangster cop. And cops watch a presentation of a real cheap-looking Ed 209 presented by John Mahoney. The Norris, the maniac that he is, pulls a gun on everyone when he's unimpressed by the presentation and becomes a test subject on the robot's capabilities, and uses a black cop as a human shield.
I didn't realize that. Oh no, Chuck! Imagine if that wasn't part of the script. Like it was supposed to be the captain who he uses as human shield, and Chuck Norris's first instinct is just to go for the black guy. Like what the fuck is this? I don't remember that being a part of it. Go with it, Chuck. Just go with it.
Back at the morgue, Norris identifies as Stiff and says that he knows the guy's uncle. Then we get a montage of Norris and his partner trying to track down the uncle Gamiani, and they track him down to a very fancy apartment building, having just given his Gumar a good old-fashioned rogering. And Gamiani is the other guy that was at the birthday party. And Norris tails him to the zoo, where Gamiani tries to meet up with his granddaughter, but she tells him that she doesn't want to see him. This is like the most arduous tailing scene ever, because then Gamiani starts tailing his own granddaughter while Norris tails him. They wind up at the public library until she sees him, so she hops in a cab, and finally at night they wind up at an art gallery.
Yeah, the best part about the tailing is that Chuck Norris is really bad at it. Like at no point is he far enough away that the group would not notice. What is this weird bearded man that always seems to be about 30 feet away from us?
Yeah, you can't be a single adult man hanging out at the zoo by yourself and not be conspicuous, right?
Yeah.
And he's with his partner.
Yeah.
And so they're just walking, these two men walking like fully like in suits and everything. Like that looks very suspicious. What are you guys doing here?
Yeah, so when the next scene, when he's like hanging out at the newsstand in front of the public library, just there,
Yeah.
you would think that he would, oh, I feel like I've just seen that guy like 20 minutes ago at the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
I would be suspicious.
Yeah,
That was Damiani.
Yeah, that's when you notice you're being tailed,
Yeah.
pretty much. But again, this crime family is very inept.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's not beyond reasoning that they like, oh, it's a single man enjoying the zoo. As single men always do.
Then has to return some books at the library. Chuck Norris goes to talk to the granddaughter, but she makes him for a cop immediately and tells him she doesn't know where her father is. That's Tony. She has nothing to do with their business. So Norris calls to put some surveillance on Tony's house while art gallery patrons do coke in front of him because it's the 80s. Then the drug kingpin stages a funeral procession through the mafia's neighborhood. Norris then pays a visit to Tony's uncle's yacht and throws his man off into the water.
I gotta say, the funeral procession thing might be the most badass thing they do in this movie. It's just like, yeah, like, we know, you're next.
Yep.
This is why.
The uncle clams up and Norris threatens that he's going to find his nephew. Body turns up in the park with a Columbia necktie, and it was Tony's bag man. There's also been other bodies that have turned up in Tony's various businesses. The cartel hits up Tony's house, killing everyone inside, including his wife and her mother. Tony's daughter was not there, though. Norris and his partner try to race over to where she is, and she gets picked up by her grandfather to take her somewhere safe. As the grandfather's trying to get her to safety, he's stabbed in the back of the street on the streets and tells her to run. So she runs, gets chased by the cartel guys. They find her in an alley, hiding behind a dumpster. As they catch her, Chuck Norris catches up and tells them to put their hands against the wall. One of the guys, Angel, puts a knife to the girl's throat and threatens her all the way up to the elevated train as he tries to get away with her. But Norris pursues, and they wind up fighting on top of the train as it's in motion. Eventually, they get over the Chicago River, where Angel jumps into the river to get away from Norris. Norris jumps in after, but then the guy gets hit by an oncoming boat.
That was pretty funny. Was that the slowest train ever?
It was pretty slow.
Right, they're fighting on top of the train that's going maybe 2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You guys have to take it real slow with Chuck Norris on top.
Yeah. I mean, we've both been in the subway, so we know how slow those could go.
Oh yeah, it just doesn't make for an exciting action set piece. I just watched or rewatched the new Mission Impossible movie, and the finale takes place on a high-speed train that's going, I don't know, 70, 80 miles an hour, and you see Tom Cruise on top fighting the main bad guy. Like that's exciting. You on top of this train, or Chuck Norris on top of this train when it's crawling down the track, doesn't make for an exciting action piece.
Mm-hmm. Your move, Chuck Norris.
What is he now, 80?
He's gotta be.
Well, listen, man.
He could run for president.
Listen, if he really cared about the craft so much, he would do it. So I'm calling him out.
Yeah. After the cops pull Norris out of the water, he tells Diana that her family was killed. Norris takes Diana to the house of a former cop to keep her safe. Meanwhile, the rest of the precinct is getting drunk at a bar. Two guys try to hold it up and immediately have guns drawn on them from 30 or so cops. They get arrested.
That scene felt like it would have been in a Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah.
Right, because everyone just pulls their gun out at the
exact Naked Gun.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, like a Zucker Brothers or one of those types of movies. Yeah. I legitimately laughed in that scene where the two criminals are kind of hyping themselves up, like, yeah, we could do this, and they finally work up the courage to pull their guns out, and immediately 60 guns just are pointed at them.
It was pretty funny, but
yeah.
It's so out of place in this movie. It's like
exactly.
The only scene of levity.
Yeah, it's a very out of place scene, like you said. It belongs in a Mel Brooks movie or like you said, Naked Gun.
Mm. Meanwhile, Chuck Norris tries to comfort Diana by staring directly at her and not much else. Then he gives her a real robot side hug.
I'm so glad you noticed that.
Just stare, like 1,000-mile stare right into her soul.
That's him emoting.
Yeah. He then goes to the bar, and Dennis Farina introduces him to some Chicago bar skanks, and then tries to get him to invest in an alligator farm.
That might be my favorite scheme that he comes up with. And I always like how, everything is more impressive now that I know this is his first gig, or one of his first. Like how smooth he delivers the lines about what the girls do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems very natural.
Yeah.
He was such a treat every time he popped up in this movie.
Always is, but it is funny because I was looking at the trivia and he was still working for the police department at the time in this movie.
I wonder if he was what's the word I'm looking for? Consulting a little bit on it
that's sort of how he started. So he has this isn't technically his first movie. He's got a very small part in the movie Thief, the Michael Mann movie, where he played a consultant on that. And then Michael Mann gave him a role in the movie. But I guess I don't know if he was a consultant on this, but that is kind of how he started in Hollywood.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Then talks to his partner who's drunk, talking about wanting to be a good cop. He finally works up the courage to tell him about Home Alone gangster cop blowing away the kid in the apartment. So Chuck Norris tells him to tell the truth at the hearing. And he has some words for Home Alone gangster cop when he leaves the bar at the hearing. Home Alone gangster cop spins his lies. Chuck Norris's partner chickens out and winds up corroborating the lie. But when Norris takes a stand, he says that he doesn't think that Home Alone gangster cop is fit to be on the streets anymore.
Real quick, I'm sorry. When we say Home Alone gangster cop, did we specified it's the Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal actor, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually said that, but yes, it is the actor in the movie in Home Alone. Angels with Filthy Souls. It says Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal. Yeah, that's him. I think I briefly mentioned it in the beginning, but yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure because I was thinking maybe people might get confused, like, oh, Home Alone cop, like Joe Pesci or somebody, because he plays a cop in the beginning. Yeah. But we would say Joe Pesci, I'm sure. that one actor. Oh, what was his name?
Yeah. After the hearing breaks, Norris calls the house of his buddy but can't get an answer. So he calls some cops to go investigate. When he gets there, he finds his buddy dead, but the girl's missing. Chuck Norris goes to meet with the cartel, but when he calls for backup, all the other cops ignore it for what he did to Home Alone gangster cop. He makes it to a pool hall where he goes in alone and roughs up one guy that gets in his way, then goes to the back where he roughs up the guy that survived the drug deal in the beginning. But as he goes to leave, Camacho has his guys attack him, tries to fight them off, but there's too many, and he eventually gets subdued. Camacho tells him that he wants Tony or else he'll kill the girl. Dennis Farina winds up being the only one that answers the backup call, and he finds Chuck Norris recovering from his ass kicking in the alley. Farina tells him that an informant wearing a wire found out that Tony has been in Wisconsin since all this has been going on, but he's coming back to Chicago tonight. So Chuck Norris runs off somewhere to go find Tony. Tony gets picked up by his uncle, who is not happy with Tony. But then Chuck Norris starts driving like a maniac, and a car chase ensues, eventually resulting in Norris flipping their car, which then explodes for some reason. He then calls Camacho and tells him he has Tony and wants to meet for Diana. So they set up a drop at the pier, and Chuck Norris steals a whole bunch of equipment from the police station, including the Ed 209 knockoff.
I love how everything at this point in the movie, nobody questions Chuck Norris's character at all. Oh, your car just randomly ran into this and exploded. Oh yeah, sure, take my cop car. That's fine. Yeah. There's zero questions, and the cops are supposed to be hating him at this point. So yeah, it just felt weird.
Do we know why his car explodes?
No idea.
Okay. I was very confused. I was like, wait a minute, he didn't crash into anything.
So then a gunfight ensues between Chuck Norris, Ed 209, and the cartel, as Chuck Norris systematically takes them out one by one. Lots of shooting, lots of Ed 209 just mowing people down. Eventually he winds up shooting Camacho, who then tries to get up and kill Diana with some sort of hatchet, but Chuck Norris manages to blow him away before he can. Then Dennis Farina and the rest of the cops show up as Chuck Norris carries Diana out of the warehouse. They put her in an ambulance, and that's it. That's the end of the movie. Kind of drives off into the sunset, if I remember correctly. I could be thinking of the last movie we watched. But yeah, that's it. That's Code of Silence. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I think I wanted more karate. The movie description in Tubi promises a karate cop, and I can't call Chuck Norris a karate cop in this movie.
In this movie, he is a cop who does karate.
Yeah.
Not a karate cop.
I don't know if there's like officially karate cops, like if in real life there is like on the force, like, oh, that guy's karate cop. He uses karate to do perps. I hope it's true. I hope that's a thing. But I doubt it.
Back in the 80s and 90s.
Right. When there was like a standard for the physical fitness evaluation for cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be great for the Taekwondo force.
Yeah. It's like the K9 unit, the karate unit.
Right. Oh, we stand back. They're calling in the karate unit.
Yeah. Well, that's the only way to defeat bad guys with karate. Is a good guy with karate.
Oh my god, he has a samurai sword. Call in the karate unit. Because what else? What other situations are you calling in a karate unit? Like maybe a karate fight breaks out in a high school.
Yeah, like in one of the seasons of Cobra Kai.
Oh, Cobra Kai. That's right. Yeah, just an all-out karate brawl.
I think that was the last episode I watched.
I forgot about that.
The karate brawl.
What an unrealistic thing to happen, but it's so great. Yeah. I guess that's who you call in, right? You don't call in the regular police because they would get their asses kicked.
Absolutely. Just be disarming cops left and right.
Oh man. Yeah, we gotta I'm sure there's a movie already about a karate unit.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick.
That would be sick.
All right. Well, that's Code of Silence. We're gonna take a quick break. So you guys can listen to some ads and we can pay those bills, and then we're going to be back for a third segment. And welcome back. And now it's time for our third segment, and this one is Casting List, Chicago movies. So we've done this before in the past where I'm going to mention some cast lists from some movies, and you guys got to figure it out. So it's going to go easier as further we go. So I'm going to give you... So how I'm going to do it this time is I've got... a cast list. I've broken up each cast list into 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. So if you could get it on the 3 points, which is 3 names, you get 3 points. 2 names for 2 points, you get 2 points, and then the 1 would be the obvious answer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
can't wait for you to get to the obvious one, and neither me or Dan get it.
Yeah, I hope it's relatively these. So I have 10 movies. I hope the obvious are obvious, but
no, I know.
We shall see. And we're going to use a buzzer system. Buzz in with your favorite Chicago catchphrases. Yeah, that's it.
Chicago catchphrases.
Yeah, whatever you think someone from Chicago, a stereotypical Chicago person would say. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. So, first one. Now, these are the 3 names that make up the 3-point guess. So if you could get it in this, you get 3 points. Our cast list is Patricia Clarkson, Billy Drago, and Richard Bradford. Remember, these are all Chicago-based movies. Patricia Clarkson, Billy Drago, and Richard Bradford.
No, I'm not going to get it.
Okay. I think I know it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's Chicago City. Deep dish pizza. It's better than New York pizza. That's what they say. That's a saying.
All right, Dan.
The Untouchables.
That's right. Which one? Which one tipped it off?
Patricia Clarkson.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly.
Nice. Yeah, the 2 points was Kevin Costner and Andy. Number 1 would have been Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
All right. So next one. The 3 is James Avery, Paul Rubens, and Frank Oz.
Pee-wee, right?
Mm-hmm. James Avery, of course, is Uncle Phil.
That's right.
And we've got Yoda, Frank Oz.
Yeah, I'm out too.
I'm drawing a blank.
All right. Okay, for the 2 points, John Landis and John Candy.
Oh no, but that's not a cop movie. Wait, they're all cop movies, right?
Chicago movies.
Go ahead, Mark. I'll let you do it.
Go Cubbies.
Oh.
There you
go. Uncle Buck?
It is not Uncle Buck.
Deep dish.
Dan.
Blues Brothers?
It is Blues Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Number 1 would have been Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, that would got it.
Oh, I forgot she was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have waited for the 1 point.
I was going to put 0 points. Would have been Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
Wait, guys, get it? Get it, guys?
All right, next one. For the 3, David Crosby, Clint Howard, and Jason Gedrick.
If you guess, you can't guess again, right?
I think that's fair.
Okay, so I'm gonna pass. I'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pass too.
Okay. 2 pointers. Scott Glenn and Donald Sutherland.
Yeah,
I feel like I know this, but I'm going to pass again.
All right. Danny, you passing as well?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. 1 point. Kurt Russell.
No, that takes place in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell movie that takes place in Chicago. I don't know. I feel bad because I should know Kurt Russell movies.
Yeah, I think that's what's throwing me off too. It's trying to think of movies I know that are based in Chicago.
What if I gave you extra 1 pointer and said William Baldwin?
Oh,
Go Cubbies.
Go ahead.
All right, Mark.
Backdraft?
This is Backdraft.
Okay. I forgot. I didn't know that was in Chicago, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, me neither.
I thought it was a New York movie.
All right, next one. Ted Raimi, Rhea Pavia, and Mariana Elliott.
Oh, I want to take a shot in the dark here, but I don't know if it takes place in Chicago. You know what? Fuck it. Why not? Deep Dish.
Dan.
Darkman?
It is not Darkman.
Oh, okay. That's what I get.
All right. So it's all up to Mark. Mark, I'm assuming you're not going to You're not going to guess.
I'm probably not going to get the 3s for the most part. So.
Okay. All right. Here's the 2s. Casey Lemons and Virginia Madsen.
Just go for the 1 and let me embarrass myself.
Okay. Number 1, Tony Todd.
Oh, that's a Chicago movie?
Oh, now Dan's making me feel real bad. He seems to obviously know. Trying to run it all through my head. You know, I'd be okay with letting Dan get a second guess because I don't want you to just keep giving me hints if he knows it.
No, I'm not going to give him the points, but Dan, do you want to guess?
Yeah, because I don't know.
I was going to say, if you let me guess, I wouldn't take the point, but Candyman.
It is Candy. Yep, first one is in Chicago. Second one, New Orleans. And then the 2021 is also Chicago, obviously.
You know, I thought it took place in New Orleans solely.
Okay. Farewell to the Flesh takes place in New Orleans.
Okay.
Actually, an underrated horror sequel, if I do say.
Okay, yeah, damn it on that. I didn't know Ted Raimi was in that either. It must have been a smaller role.
Yeah. All right, next one. The 3s. Michael Keaton, Frank Langella, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, I know this one. My dad liked this movie. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Yeah. I think I don't know it. Shit.
I'm going to go to the 2s for me.
Okay. The 2s, Mark Rylance and Eddie Redmayne.
Oh, this is a completely different movie then. Never mind. I thought it was something completely different. So this is a newer movie.
It is.
Yeah, let me just hear the 1 and see if it helps me.
Okay. The number 1 is Sacha Baron Cohen.
Deep Dish.
Dan.
The Chicago 7.
I'll give it to you. The Trial of the Chicago 7. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
But
yeah, that came out, 2 years ago? A year ago?
2021, I think.
Okay.
All right, next one. The 3s are Robert Longstreet, Martin Sheen, and Lil Rel Howery.
Yeah, usually with the 3s, if I know it, I'll jump in right away. So just take my silence as a pass.
Dan, same for you?
Correct.
All right, number 2s, Jesse Plemons, Lakeith Steinfeld.
This is another new movie then.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Chicago still exists.
Does? No,
it does.
I could have sworn they got rid of it in like the 80s after Code of Silence. I thought they got rid of it. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I have a movie in mind, but I don't want to take the leap.
Okay. The number 1, Daniel Kaluuya. So that was Robert Longstreet, Martin Sheen, Lil Rel Howery, Jesse Plemons, Lakeith Steinfeld, and Daniel Kaluuya.
I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if I say this, but I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I haven't seen it, but I'll take a guess. Deep Dish.
All right, then, go ahead.
They clone Tyrone?
It is not They Clone Tyrone.
Okay.
All right. Mark, are you stumped?
Go Cubbies.
All right.
Is it Get Out?
It is not Get Out. That is a good guess, though, with Lakeith Steinfeld and Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
No, it is Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, okay. Was that nominated for Best Picture?
I don't think it was nominated for Best Picture, but I think Daniel Kaluuya and maybe Lakeith Steinfeld got nominated for something.
Okay. I remember you talking about this movie, though.
It was a good movie.
You did like it, yeah.
Yeah. My guess was one of those, like, okay, there's been a couple movies on here that I didn't know was set in Chicago.
Yeah.
Remember if Get Out was or not.
Let's see. Won 2 Oscars.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What for?
I'm opening it. I was nominated for best motion picture. Daniel Kaluuya won for supporting role.
Okay.
And best achievement in music written for motion picture song.
Okay.
That's cool.
Fight for You.
Is that original song, I guess, is the shortened version of that category?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It was also nominated for best original screenplay and best performance by an actor, a supporting role for Lakeith Steinfeld. Stanfield? Is it Stanfield? Am I saying? I always thought it was Steinfeld. Yeah, Stanfield. Okay.
Well, there's Haley Steinfeld.
Maybe that's what I'm mistaken. Yeah, I always thought that they're brother and sister.
Oh yeah, totally.
All right, I think I got 4 more. Okay.
Yeah, no, these are fun.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that I could jump in with 3.
Okay, next one. The 3s. Al Leong, friend of the podcast, Dan Hedaya, and Jimmy Smits.
That's Leo Organa's non-biological father.
Any guesses for the 3s, or are we going right to the 2s?
Pass for me.
Because that's in LA. Pass.
Okay. The 2s, Joe Pantoliano and Billy Crystal.
So this is a little older movie.
It is.
Okay. I don't know at the moment.
Mark?
Yeah, pass for me.
Okay. Number 1 for 1 point, Gregory Hines.
Oh boy. Again, I might get in trouble. Oh man. All right. So it was.
All right. Al Leong, Dan Hedaya, Jimmy Smits, Joe Pantoliano, Billy Crystal, and Gregory Hines.
Was Gregory Hines in Meteor Man? That could be way off.
It is not Meteor Man.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I think the thing throwing me off is I'm not great at knowing movies made in Chicago. So
if it was Philadelphia, you'd be all over it.
Well, no, it's just I think that's what's like sort of making me a little gun shy or not being able to put things together.
I will say this was the one that you got. I wasn't sure if you guys would have seen. However,
can you give me one more just in case?
Those 2 are so Billy Crystal and Gregory are the stars of this movie.
Okay.
And Billy Crystal is features wearing a Chicago Cubs t-shirt the entire movie, or most of the movie.
Okay.
I'm guessing you guys don't have an answer for this, but it's Running Scared. This was probably the hardest one.
No, never saw it.
Yeah.
Next one. Sarah Gilbert from Roseanne, Lily Taylor, and Joan Cusack.
Cusack.
Move on to the 2s.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
Okay.
Wait. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Sarah Gilbert, Lily Taylor, and Joan Cusack.
I think they've only ever been in one movie together. I think I've seen. All right, Deep Dish.
All right.
High Fidelity.
That's right.
Oh,
High Fidelity. This one is jam-packed. I could have had a lot of misses on this one.
What was the 2s? Just
The 2s was Tim Robbins and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh no, I still would have got it. Okay.
And number 1 was John Cusack.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then I would have got it.
Still had Jack Black. Still had Lisa Bonet, I could have said.
Yeah. I think if you would have thrown Jack Black into 2 or 3s, I may have at least taken a shot at it.
Yeah. Was it Sarah Gilbert that got it for you, Dan?
Sarah Gilbert and Joan Cusack, because I think I've only ever seen them in High Fidelity.
Yeah. Sarah Gilbert not having a very large film background.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. Here's the next one. This is second to last one. The penultimate, if you will.
Penultimate.
Ooh. All right. We have Southside Johnny Lyon from Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. Vincent D'Onofrio and Bradley Whitford.
No clue who the first person is. I defer to a one Mark Myers.
I want to really go to the second one, but I have a shot in the dark. I've been struggling with this, so let me take a shot in the dark. Go Cubbies.
All right.
Men in Black?
This is not Men in Black.
I think that's New York.
That is New York.
Yeah. The D'Onofrio thing.
All right, Dan. Dan. For your 2s, you have Anthony Rapp from Rent fame
Okay.
and Keith Coogan.
Yikes. Not helping.
All right. Here's number 1. You want number 1?
Please.
Elizabeth Shue.
Bitch. You. Mm-mm. Nothing. I'm sorry.
It's okay. The answer is Adventures in Babysitting.
Oh, Elizabeth Shue. She was in
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
She was
picturing something completely different.
Back to the Future 2, Leaving Las Vegas, Piranha 3D.
Female. Oh no, that's Jennifer Jason.
Damn it. Okay, I was thinking of someone completely different.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
All right. I thought you might have, because is that a what's his name movie?
I don't think it's a John Hughes.
I always thought
It could be because he wrote some movies that I didn't know he wrote.
That's true. Yeah. All
But
right.
I've actually seen that movie. So
Okay. Last one. Christopher Lloyd. Speaking of Back to the Future, Michael Lerner, and previously mentioned on the podcast, John Mahoney.
John Mahoney. Can I? You know what? I'm gonna take a guess.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna say deep dish.
Okay.
And it's funny because Mark's is Go Cubbies. I think this is the Chicago White Sox movie, the Eighth Man Out.
It is 8 Man Out. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. The 2s were David Strathairn and Charlie Sheen. And number 1 once again was John Cusack.
Yeah,
good movie.
Yeah, it is. I would have got it at 2 or 1 if you would have been wrong.
It's so funny that you brought up 8 Men Out because I was talking to 2 friends of mine today. We were talking about Field of Dreams, and I said my hot take is Field of Dreams is overrated, and that 8 Men Out is better.
Woo, that is a spicy take.
That is a spicy take.
I feel like friend of the show Tom is throwing his phone across the room right now after hearing you say that.
He's gonna show up at my house and just like he'd ring the doorbell, I open it and just punch me. That's for saying that 8 Men Out is better than Field of Dreams. Now listen, I get it because my one friend mentioned like they made an entire field after it and have Major League Baseball games play in that field now. So I completely understand why everyone loves it. I just think that it's not the best baseball movie.
I feel that Field of Dreams falls into the same category because of the whole "if you build it, they will come" became such a cultural phenomenon with like the chanting Rudy on the sideline. Like the big scenes from those movies overrode, how good the whole movie was.
Yeah.
Because maybe not as hot of a take, but I would definitely rank The Natural ahead of Field of Dreams, and I've seen some places where it's been the opposite.
I think The Natural is a better movie, a better baseball movie.
But it's one of those things like Rudy, which I've made my opinions known when we did the ranking of sports movies list. Just because of that end scene in both movies, I think it sticks a little more in people's minds. So if they haven't seen it in 20 years, they just assume because they remember it that it must be great.
I feel bad now. I should have let you guess before I guessed.
Yeah.
Can we go back and do it again? Can't.
Nope, sorry, can't. But yep, those are the 10 Chicago themed movies.
It just shows me how many movies
You have to expand your reach.
Yeah, why do you hate Chicago so much, Mark?
Oh, is that the new lore for me now?
Yeah.
I hate Chicago.
All the shootings that happened there, Ant. So you stay away from Chicago movies.
Okay. I usually buy into bits, guys, but I'm not going to let it go that far.
You heard it here, folks. First, folks. Mark would be caught dead before he went to Chicago. Step foot into it.
Mark's like that loser who posts on TikToks. He was like if this is so safe, why are they like this? Like that conservative douchebag who's like terrified of stepping outside of a suburb, but he
New York's a hellhole. Who's never stepped foot in New York City. So
exactly, yeah, he hasn't.
Regardless of that fact that it is a hellhole, he has no way to base that on any sort of fact.
Yeah, he's never stepped foot out of like Times Square.
I do enjoy the fact of this bit is that of the people on the podcast, I'm the only one that lived in an urban setting for a long time.
Well, I lived in State College, so
listen, I spent summers in New York, so I practically grew up in the projects.
There
Okay,
you go.
so out of all of us here, who has a family member that went to prison? I rest my.
I had to think about it.
Yeah, no. My dad pleaded out. It's fine.
That definitely would have superseded mine. But as of right now, I'm the most streetwise by proxy.
It's true.
I mean, the closest my sister was in a drunk tank for a night. But yeah,
It counts.
I've seen a homeless man spit on a pregnant woman on the one train. So
you win at.
Oh well, I don't want to get too into detail of what I've seen on my
bars.
My daily commute into Manhattan.
Well, that is our episode. Join us next week when we have another episode. Actually, next week is St. Patrick's Day week for us.
Yeah, it is.
That means
we are, well, speaking of our street cred, we are watching Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Is it back the number 2?
I believe it's. I believe it is.
Is it the or duh?
Ooh, good question. Good question.
It's going to be DA because it's going to be.
It's THA.
THA.
THA. That might be
even worse.
Leprechaun 6, Back to the number 2, The Hood.
It just keeps getting worse, Ant.
That's the stupidest thing. Why couldn't they just put the E instead of the A? Just switch the vowels. It's so easy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd like to say that this might be our last Leprechaun, but there is a reboot.
A reboot. Yeah.
With Hornswoggle, right?
From WWE fame?
Yeah. Was it like
maybe.
Leprechaun Returns?
Or Origins, maybe?
Oh, Leprechaun Origins, I think, is done with Hornswoggle.
Yeah. So we got another one in us, at least, after this.
There's 2 more. There's
Okay.
2 more.
Aye.
Yeah. Thought we were almost done with it.
Yeah.
At least till 2026.
They keep pulling us back in.
All right. Check us out on all our socials. Todd at Instagram, Threads, X, formerly known as Twitter, on all those places. They call this movie on TikTok. And if you want to hit us up on Gmail, we are at tictanpod@gmail.com. Ask us to review a movie that you think should be watched on this show. Or just tell us we're great. Give us a 5-star review on Podcatcher of Choice. That's another thing. Check us out on YouTube, too. Just look for They Call This a Movie. And, that's it. The director of Code of Silence is Andrew Davis. So, for Dan Aquino and Mark Myers, this is Anthony DeVecchio telling Andrew Davis, well, you certainly made a movie, didn't you? Thanks for listening to They Call This a Movie. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at TicTamPod. That's TCTAM Pod. You can also check us out on TikTok at They Call This a Movie.